2, 1. And we're live. We got some people in chat. We got some of the. Oh, Matt, you don't mind swearing and stuff, do you? You don't get
You're fine.
offended.
Yeah, we're
That's
good.
fine.
No.
That's that's fine then, because we got some bitches in this fucking. They are just
Oh, really? Oh.
big mouthy bitches. Oh, absolutely. But they do behave. They behave today now. I'm starting early, guys, because the main man's here. Matt's here, so I was like, why not start a bit earlier? We're not going to start the interview yet because obviously we did say 12, but there's some people here, so we thought we'd introduce it. We've already got Josie here on the show. I want to ask you about this. Actually, we'll promote it all throughout the stream, but is it only a Kindle version you've got, or is there a hardback version of
I
the
can't.
book?
I wrote the book, and then I went to publish it. It's that self publishing, and I just did the ebook real quick, and that's what's been for sale for since like 6 months or whatever it's been. But I'm
Fine.
working on a soft cover right now, so it shouldn't be
So
like another couple of weeks.
So I've not bought it yet. So I'm hanging in there because I was waiting for a hard book. So I'll purchase mine whenever you get that launched. Then that's fine. But
Yeah,
anyone that wants to get the audio, not audio, Kindle version, it's there. But if you want the
yeah.
actual book, guys, we'll
You
have
gotta
that
wait
out
a
in a
couple of
couple of
weeks.
weeks.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that's fine. Um,
Yeah.
so we No, it's fine. We'll promote your book a bit more, just keeping this going for a little bit. We got some people here. Who we got? Thierry's here from there. Josie's my mod. She's here. You don't mess with Josie, my man. If you see Josie saying shut up, we just shut up, man. Just she's got a mouth on her.
You guys are trial
uh,
junkies, right? You're trial junkies.
yeah,
You like to watch
absolute,
trials.
absolute. We got C Sweat. C Sweat is what we call a trial whore. She goes in and out of every trial you can imagine. She's
Well,
there, man. She's there.
well, you're about to see a
Uh,
trial. I don't know about this is my only trial, but this is you're going to be amazed. You're going to be there's it's wicked interesting the things that were happening. Just my case is
and
just really interesting.
and as I say, we got a 50-50 split of some that have seen it, some who haven't seen it. So some of these guys will be following it every Wednesday as well. On that.
And
What's it
I'm
called?
sure they
People.
have questions, and if they have any questions at all, I could help them with them. You
Yeah,
know, whatever
we we
whatever they had.
we'll be doing it. Hang on, Irish is here. So Irish is into. Oh no, I won't say it. Some of these girls, not Irish, but some of the girls are into rimming and stuff like that. So do get dirty in the chat sometimes, with their rimming and sticking glasses up their bum holes and stuff. So we have to be a little bit careful here. We've got guests, guys. So let's be tidy here. Hi Emily. Hi, Emily. So you see the free Zachary Anderson already here. You'll see a lot of that. Trial junkie for sure. So some of them have seen your interview, potentially criminal. Um, you did last year with Sean, is it? I believe his name is. So some of them
Right.
have seen that interview. Um, but Christine, hello, hello. So no worries, Emily, that's fine. Everyone's blushing. Oh, okay, cool. Well, you're all starting to be here now, so it's fine. We're filling up, which is good. That's what we want to see. And don't be embarrassed, guys. Just be yourselves. It's all good. Um, Matt doesn't get offended. I just want everyone to be themselves. Matt, you'll be yourself. I'll be myself. Everyone will be themselves. So it's fine. Um, so I think the chat know that this will be a journey today up until the trial. We're going to watch the whole trial. Matt very graciously said he'll answer any questions about the trial as well. We'll get him back on as well afterwards to answer a ton of questions. I know you guys have already. For those who have watched it, those who haven't, you can join us every Wednesday on that, and we'll take note of every question. I'm very intrigued by it. And as I said to you offline, I said these guys are the reason we're watching you because I, I was so downhearted with the Zachariah Anderson trial about the justice system, and that's when everyone
Mm.
said, Matt Moore, you have to watch it because it'll bring more heart to you, as in this is how a trial should run compared to
Right.
the way it was run. So
Right.
that's why we're excited, and that's why we started watching it. So
Great. Right
um,
on.
we got it. We'll people are still coming in. We've got give it a couple of minutes because I say we started early. But where are you now? Are you in Vegas now, or
I'm in
you
Vegas.
know?
Yeah.
So you born and bred in Vegas then, or
No, but
were you
I've spent most of my life here. But I
cool?
grew up in New York, upstate New York. But this
Oh,
is my life.
okay, okay,
This is my yeah.
okay. We'll get into that. I'm interested in that. So you've basically gone from the east to the west. It's like, and the west is probably best. So
Yeah. Well,
um,
Vegas is fun. I like it here. The weather's nice.
I, I've been 4 times to Vegas, and
Yeah.
I've enjoyed it, but my bank does not enjoy it. My bank account does not. So
Right.
uh, hello, Erin Hack as well. Iris, so um we'll be streaming this every Wednesday now. So the synopsis, we're gonna be going through this now with Matt. This is the reason he's here. So we'll ask him stuff leading up to the trial, and then we won't give any spoilers. We'll watch the trial as it comes, and then we can ask him more questions. So Vegas is a blast. I know it's a blast. It's just, I suppose it depends where you live in Vegas. I loved it. I loved it, but man, it's a party town. Do you know what I mean? So you can't live on the strip, that's for sure. Um,
No.
but there we are. So, right, let's get started a little bit. So you mentioned just now you're from New York. So you're born and bred in New York. Tell us about that. How did you go from New York, and how did you end up basically going over
I
to the West?
I I grew up in a city called Utica. Oh. It's Utica, New York, and they opened a casino up there in the '90s, and I got a job there, and I did a year dealing blackjack. After this was after
Oh,
university, and I I I went out to Vegas. Most kids did, young guys, and I was in the '90s, and it was a boom town, back then. Hang on a second.
it's all
uh,
good. It's all good.
well, I'll just keep talking
It's all
until
good,
I can
man.
get there.
Yeah. It's fine. So we've got people in the chat here. Sorry for outing some of you about your rimming and stuff like that. We're just having a bit of fun here today. I think you would, Josie. I think you would be a blast in Vegas. I can imagine that would be some combo in Vegas, guys. I'll be honest with you. I love Vegas though. Um, so I've been chatting to Matt for the last 20 minutes. He came on early. So let's go. Let's see who goes going. Yeah, he's just having technical difficulties. It's all good. It's all good. He'll be popping back on now. It's all good. I told him that you're a madhouse. I've asked him if he's okay with swearing. He's absolutely fine with swearing. He's very intrigued to give the all the details. Uh, I've had a chat with him offline. He's a cool dude, absolute cool dude. He's open to any questions. As I say, I'm going to try and keep the questions about the trial and afterwards he's going to come back on in a few weeks' time. Anyway, so on here he is. He's back now. Let me get him on.
All right,
Oh,
bud.
look at him. He's showing off now. Look at him. I can see the bit of sun there. It's all right. You carry on, man. Um, oh, hang on. Just before
I
you
ended
even
up
go,
in
Matt.
Vegas after what's that? Going?
I
What is
just
that?
said, no. You carry on. You carry on, man. You carry on. Sorry, bud. You carry on.
I ended up in Vegas because I worked in a casino back east. Um, I was out here for 25 years, over 25 years, just as if I worked in the casino industry. My father lived in Ohio. He had a business there for years and years, and I was out here as a single father with my son Joey. Joey was having problems at school. They don't offer a lot out here as far as in like special education. And my dad, talking with my dad all the time, he was like, "Well, they do in Ohio. They really do. They got good schools here." He lived in a fairly affluent community outside Columbus, Ohio, which is the capital. Um, so he said, bring Joey back here. You can live with me for a while until you get your things in order, and then it'll be better for Joey out here in Ohio. So I moved out there, and I met my wife Emily the first month I was in Ohio. We hit it right off. As soon as we met each other, we just kind of knew, one of those deals. We started dating. We dated for a year. I wasn't making the money I thought I was going to be making. The school thing with Joey didn't work out, so I had to end up moving back to Vegas because I needed to get back to the money. While I was out in Vegas, we stayed in touch. Emily and I stayed in touch via, just text messages and things like that. And eventually we decided, hey, we probably should try this again because it was we had a pretty good thing going. So I eventually moved back to Columbus and moved in with Emily and married her. And that's pretty much where the story begins.
Wow.
So I was an outsider
So you,
in Ohio. I was a Vegas guy with a kid, a single father.
wow, but that's still impressive. So East Coast over to West Coast, back to Midwest, then, isn't it? Is it Midwest, something like that?
It is Midwest. It's definitely Midwest. I'd never lived in a place like that before. It was definitely a new experience.
So a question for you, before we go into the details, a question for you then. So I'm new to American stuff. I'm into sports and stuff like that. I'm into NFL, hugely into my NFL and college football. Is that something that you're into? Are you into sports and stuff?
I was when I was younger, but Vegas is because it's so transient here, and there's so many people from all over. There's not a lot of
Yeah,
camaraderie when it comes to sports. So when I lived in New
yeah,
York, everybody kind of liked New York teams. You know what I mean? When that was kind of
yeah.
over, then it just kind of became a thing. I stopped watching years ago. I'll still
But
gamble
were
on
you
a game once in a while.
but are you a Jet or are you a Giant? Or were
Giants
you
for sure. The 80s, 80s.
Giants?
I was, yeah. Now I don't. Now I don't know anything about the Giants. I don't know the coach, the
That
quarterback. I don't know any of it.
No, that's fine. But the main thing is gambling. That's what my vice is. I love a little gamble, college football and on you know, NFL, man. I do. Uh, that's what we're in Vegas. So I used to play poker for a couple of years, professionally, and
Right?
so I used
Yeah,
to go to
that's the
Vegas.
game. That's the game.
Yeah, was to go out for the World Series every summer. So it'd always
All
be
right, cool.
play poker, gambling, cash games. Do you know what I mean? So and gambling is huge. I love the sports book in Vegas as well. So but
They're nice
Advanced
now,
Manager
aren't they?
doesn't. So we don't have that in the UK.
Yeah.
We don't have it.
You
So,
don't. You have
but
casinos there,
no,
don't you? You don't have casinos.
we
You
yeah,
guys
no,
like
we
roulette,
do, but
right?
roulette, blackjack. But what we don't have is sports books like you have it. We have like more like
All right,
bookies. So it's like shops, stores, bookies, and they're just seedy,
right,
seedy. They're not nice. So,
right.
but anyway, I don't know how we ended up talking about gambling, but that's a big part of your life, probably, like a gamble. So do I. Uh, right, we've got some here. So, someone's asking here? We'll ask this question before we go on to it. What's the main difference between New York and Las Vegas then? And obviously prefer Vegas, but what's the differences?
Well, where I grew up in New York was upstate New York, so it's not New York City. It's different. It's rural, pretty much, or very small
Yeah,
cities. So, and Vegas is
yeah,
it's a big place. Yeah, it never shuts down. It's a 24-hour town. There's always something going on here. Things close up at 2 o'clock in the morning in New York. There's no one around. It's dead. Vegas never really dies. It just keeps going and going and going.
no.
The food here got really good too. New York's got great food, but Vegas caught up. The restaurants here are fantastic now. So
Mm. I've had a few there down. Yeah, I've had a few. I like the off-strip stuff, to be fair. So, but I've only been to a
mm,
couple of Chinese restaurants. They were nice. Um, right. So obviously
sure.
we're here, and people are here, and everyone's here going, Matt, we support you and stuff. Um, there's some girls here flirting. They love the accent. They love you. Um, Vegas, the city that doesn't sleep. That's right. And C Swep said that they do flirt. Sometimes they flirt with me, sometimes they be flirting with. I don't know who they're flirting with, but just ignore them. It's fine. Um, so, in terms of, you obviously said you met with Emily and things like that. You moved out to Ohio and things. So, how long were you dating? You said you were dating for a little bit and moved in with each other, but then how long was it before you got married and things like that? Then, tell us a little
I
bit
met
more about.
I met Emily. I met Emily in 15. I moved back after about a year to Vegas, and then I came back in 18, the summer of 18, and we got married right away in 18. And
Right away.
Emily, we were married for just under 2 years. So it wasn't a long relationship, but it was,
No,
just a few
but
years.
when you know, yeah, when you know, you know. Well,
Yeah, when you know, you know, and that was one of those things we knew. Emily and I knew we were supposed to live the rest of our lives together. So yeah, it was.
yeah,
I didn't. There was not. There
yeah.
was. I knew that she had problems. I wish she would have stuck it out, but
Yeah, and that's the thing. As I said to you offline, I'm sure what you want to go into. I'm not putting any pressure on you whatsoever. You tell your story, man. But before we do, Lou is someone from the UK as well. She's one of the people that actually is a huge advocate of you. She's someone that really was going to bat for you. She's watched your trial, and she's also someone that was going to bat for me to do this stream about you. So she's a big reason why we are
what's her
watching
name?
you
What's her
now.
name?
So, Lou,
Great.
Lou Hiller,
What's her name? Lou. Hey, Lou.
Lou.
Thanks for your support, Lou.
She's got your book. She's got everything about you. She knows everything about you. So you can't lie
Great,
here because
great.
she knows everything. Um, so yeah, as I say, but I don't want to ask you too many personal questions. You tell me. You say that she has some issues. Obviously, we all have issues and stuff like that. But you tell me what you want to tell me about Emily, man. I know you were in love with her very short time. Rest in peace to Emily, and I'm sorry for your loss on that part. But
She
you tell me what you
she
want to know.
Emily was real smart, real particular, really neat and precise. I'm the opposite of that. I'm kind of a hippie. She's definitely a hippie, but she's um very 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 precise in everything she would do. Where I'm much more laid back than she was. Combined, both of us, I thought we made a really good couple. A couple. We were really really happy when we first got married. It was really really something. Uh, my son Joey committed suicide. He had schizophrenia. I don't know if you know anything about schizophrenia, but
Yeah,
you can't describe it, how awful that disease is, and that you don't really know. They don't tell you what's going on because they're in their own world really. And there's hospitals, they don't know what to do about it. They don't know where it comes. There's not a cure. They put you on medications that make you feel awful. It was a real it was a hard situation for a marriage that we just got married, and all of a sudden there's a child that's literally within 6 months of the marriage. We had issues with Joey, and then he ended up killing himself within a year of us getting married. And it was after that we things got tough. They made When you get into the trial, they're going to make it out that it's kind of tough. We weren't violent ever. There was no violence. She was not. I've had relationships with violent women before. They're uppity. She wasn't that way at all. We were really super mellow people. That's why it was very surprising during trial when they would try to make me out and her out or whoever out to be like aggressive, and we just weren't. We're not. We never were. So she was a very, very mellow person. She was very small. She was 95 pounds, so she's real petite. Um, they tried to make it out that I abused her. I never laid a hand on her. She pretty much ran the show. I was kind of the husband that was kind of like I did what she said, and I didn't mind it. Because she did everything perfectly. She got everything done that we needed to get done the whole time. She took care of me after Joey died. I was out of my mind. I took a year off. If you look at the Hollis video, the officer that first showed up at the house the day Emily went missing, I had a big beard, long hair, because I just wasn't. I wasn't doing.
yeah,
I was just out of it. I was grieving my son for, whatever. I still kind of grieve him because I didn't have time to grieve him all the way through. But that's the situation I was in. I lost a child, my first son. I lost my first son, Palmer, in 2000. I think it was 99. He died. He got sick. It was a sudden sickness. So I already had lost my first son, and then I lost my second son, and
Fuck,
and,
no.
and it was tough. Yeah, it was tough for the marriage. It wasn't what Emily expected. It definitely wasn't, to bring a child into her life and then to have that child die, and then the ins and outs of the guilt you feel when your kid commits suicide. And we both drank, have too much. She drank, I drank,
Yeah.
so there was a lot of that. But it wasn't at all. We didn't yell at each other ever. We didn't. There was no yelling. There was no violence. There was never. I never put her. She never put her hand on me. I never put my hand on her ever. But it was this period of sadness, and we're trying to get over this thing, and she didn't make it. Not just because of what was going on with my son and me. She had problems from way back. It's in my book. If you read my book, I
Yeah.
go into what the
Yeah.
problems she had, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden I had police at my door going through my stuff, and they're like, I wasn't at my best, as my attorney said. I mean, I don't know how you think. I was drinking heavily all the time, and then so I had that, and then they're asking me when I woke up one day, and I'm like, I don't know. I think I woke up at 10. Then the next day it would be like, well, it might have been 9. I really don't know, and that's a discrepancy. They use that against you. That's it. You said one day 9, and next day 10. They put it on the list, right? That's
Mhm.
that's that's
Yeah.
the police tactics, and they know what they're doing. They know it does. It didn't matter it didn't matter when I woke up that day, and when I was telling them when I woke up, um, I wasn't worried about me. I was looking for my wife. She was missing.
Yeah.
I guess maybe I
Yeah.
digressed too much because you guys don't know my story. You don't know what I'm talking about, do you? Maybe I should try to.
No, no, it's fine. I'll stop you there for a second. I do know what you're talking about to a certain degree, but I want to rein you back in for a second. Jumped on. I got a couple of questions for you. Before I ask questions, yes, Josie's got this. Link is also in the bio for the book. But if you want the actual book, just wait a couple of weeks. Matt has said it'll be released in a couple of weeks, guys. So if you don't want the Kindle version, get the paperback version in a couple of weeks. So I'll wait for a couple of weeks. Don't worry if you haven't got
It's on
books
it.
you to buy today.
It's on Amazon. You just go to Amazon. You type in Emily colon a staged suicide in Ohio. The ebook is there, and the paperback will be within a couple weeks.
There we
So
are.
that's where you go to get it, and it
I'll be
has the
purchasing the
story
paperback
of
one.
what.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's fine. And the link will always be in my
and it
videos
was,
for this. Move forward. Sorry, man. Wait, because of the delay of like a couple seconds, it's like you don't know when people are starting to talk or not. I was just going to say the link from now on, same with all of the Zachariah stuff, will always be in my description box. No matter what video I do live stream from now on, it'll always be in there, guys. So
thank you,
never fear, it's always there.
appreciate it.
So not no, thank
Right
you
on.
for being here. Yeah, a few people saying they're ordering it as soon as it
They
comes out on
to
paper.
say the least, I can tell you that I was retired at 49. When I was married to Emily, my mother had died and left me an inheritance. Plus, I had savings from working in Vegas for 30 years, 25 years. I pretty much
Yeah,
didn't need to work anymore. They
yeah.
cleaned me out. Like when they come in and they do this to you, the police. I mean, you get arrested and thrown in jail. They literally clean you out. So I got robbed. Everything, everything. Everything. All of Emily's assets. I just her estate just closed. I got nothing, and I was the sole beneficiary on her will. I was supposed to get all her assets. I didn't get it one asset. Well, I got one. It was an IRA that I got only because they couldn't get at it. But if they could have got it, they would have took it. They cleaned me out
Yeah, no,
when I was in
I can
jail,
imagine.
waiting for trial. No, it's hard
No,
to
I can
believe
imagine. So
that this kind of thing is even legal.
yeah, I mean,
So the book
we
is
discussed a
important
little
for me
bit.
because it's my only. It's
Your outlet. It's your outlet, isn't it? So I don't want to go too much into what's in your book because I want people to read your story there. As we said, we just want to touch base on how we got there. That was interesting what you said about your beard because that's my first introduction to you was that beard. So I didn't understand what you were doing. So you explaining why because of Joey and stuff. I feel like shit now because I was going, Jesus, this guy, look at that beard. At the time because I didn't know the
Yeah,
backstory
that's right. I
of
heard you
it.
say that. You said I didn't look at an. Yeah, that was me grieving my son. I stopped caring.
Makes
I
sense.
didn't get up. There's times when I just yeah, it was a tough. It was like I said, it was my second son that I lost. So it was like my kids are
Yeah,
gone. It was a tough time.
that's
So
shit. But you
I
know,
wasn't at my
obviously
best when those police came knocking at my door.
T the P's, man. No, exactly. And when they had to point, you've seen the the clip. I was like, that they had to point you out. I was like, where's Matt? When you sitting on the on the defense table, where's Matt? He's that. That's not Matt. That's Visitor. That's an attorney. But it's like it's you. I was like,
Now
you've dropped so much weight.
I keep now it's good. I like to change my look because there's thousands of people out there that think I murdered my wife and they don't have good intentions. So I change my
Yeah,
look
yeah, yeah.
when I can.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. You look different every time I see you now, so it's fine. Um, so that
Yeah,
explains that, right?
and it's what I do.
I also watched a clip of you, right? When you were this, I don't know what backstory was of this. So obviously, I watched the opening statements, right? And from my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but when Emily went missing, you the told police oh police is that your side or my side?
All right, my Bluetooth just went. It's okay, I'll fix it.
Yeah, yeah, take your time, mate. It's fine.
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, so to say, uh, Diana said that you told the police where to search for her, and they went there 3 times and they never found her. Or was that is that true? Hang on. Keep your things going, guys. I mean, I can't keep up with all the chats, obviously, guys. Apologies for that. But obviously, Matt can see them all, so appreciate everyone that is writing in here. We can both see them, so keep it going. Thank you.
Yeah, my Bluetooth just went out. I don't know why, but I can. I don't need it. I can hear you.
Okay. Do, do you hear what I just said there about
No,
police?
say it
So,
again.
when they first came, my understanding is from the opening from Diane was that you would told them where they would find Emily, and this was search certain not find her, sorry, but the area she'd like to go to, and they
She
searched that
went on
area.
walks. She went on walks. There was this is what happened. Because you'll hear things in the media and people talk in those in the chats and they're wrong. They're just wrong. So what happened was Emily would go for walks all the time, like all over the place. That was her thing. Just in our neighborhood, not for very long, 15, 20 minutes, sometimes a half an hour. She foraged. She liked to pick greens. And when uh, when I got up and she wasn't there, I didn't go look for her because on these walks, it didn't occur to me that she would go on a walk and not come back. It just didn't make any sense to me.
Mhm.
She was in perfect health. She wouldn't have passed out anywhere. It just didn't make any sense. And everywhere these walks were, there's people everywhere. It's a very heavily it's a suburb, and there's people everywhere. So unless she would go up there and like sit down, it didn't make any sense that she would be anywhere on one of these short walks that she would take on trails. It didn't make any sense to me. So they're like, well, why didn't you go up there and look? We'll go where? It didn't make any sense. Why would I just go on one of the walks? Someone would have seen her. You gotta understand, Westerville is very heavily populated. So what you're talking about is when I took them to where they eventually found her. The lead detective, Stephen Grubbs, on the second day, this was Tuesday, this would be the 26th, and the other detective, I think, was Peachy. They came up to me and they said they had found out from talking to people, not just me, but her friends, that she had recently found a new patch of wood sorrel, which is a green that she collected. It's just like a weed that comes out of the ground. It was actually, the wood sorrel was coming out of the brick of a bridge that was up there. That's right next to the patch of woods where she was found. Peachy and Grubbs came up to me and they said, "We need you to take us to where Emily has been recently foraging." And I said, "Well, okay, well, she's not there. I mean, why would she? If she was there, someone would have seen her. There's people, there's cars, there's people all over the place." They insisted. They said, "No, we want you to take us to where she'd been recently foraging." So I said, "Sure." I got in the car with them. They drove. It was a 2-minute drive from my house. You could almost see it from my house. And I'm walking around and I'm like, this is where the wood sorrel is. I showed them the bridge and where the wood sorrel was. And we're standing there. And I'm like, well, there's other spots too down there. Do you want to go down there? And they're like, no, we just want you to come. We just wanted to see this place. I was like, well, yeah, she's not here. I don't know why you would think she would be here, but. And I did we were standing next to the woods. It's like a patch of trees that where she was eventually found. And I said to them, I would hate to think anybody would ever drag her in there. And are you guys going to go in there and look? Like the last thing, it's just, they said, yeah, we're going to go in there and check it out. After they said that, I just put that whole place on pay no mind list. There wasn't any reason for anyone to think that she was in there because the police looked in there. So I don't know what people would take of that. Some people were thinking that I brought them there. I didn't. They asked me to bring them there. Why did they ask me to bring them there? I don't know. You'd have to ask them. And after they told me that they were going to go in there and look, I didn't think she would be in there. Why would she be in there in the first place? So.
Okay, well that covers that. To be fair, I'll say that'll come out in the trial as well. It's just
They
something
tried to make it look spooky, like I was clever, like I was bringing them to the place where she was, knowing that she was there, to try to like dictate the narrative or whatever. But that was farthest from the truth. I didn't tell them anything about that place. They asked me to take them there. You can put what you want into that because I didn't understand. Why do you want me to take you here? It doesn't make any sense. It's right next to County Line Road. There's cars all over the place. It didn't make any sense. But I did whatever they asked. I literally did whatever the police asked the whole time until they did what they did.
It sounds to me though, correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds to me like you were a suspect early on, and they had no suspects after that. Is that true reflection, or
it's my contention that they what they do is they look for the guy that's going to get them what they want, which is to close a case. Yeah. And I was talking because I was looking for my wife. I needed help to look for my wife to look for.
Yeah.
Within 48 hours, they accused me of murder with no evidence. There was no evidence that she wasn't alive. We can go into details of that, but there wasn't any reason for them to think that she was not alive. But for whatever reason, they decided that she was dead, and it was quick. It was Tuesday, and then Wednesday, the next day, they interrogated me, and they accused me of murder. I don't think a lot of people know that. I think a lot of people don't know that they accuse. Once you get accused of murder, what you do is you go get a lawyer. And the lawyer tells you can't talk to them anymore. You never should in the first place, but you can't talk to them. And then the police will be like, he's not cooperating. I'm sure you know that, right? I mean, that's just like a trick they do, right? They scare you, and then you go get a lawyer, and the lawyer says you can't talk to them anymore. And then they'll go into the community and tell you he's not cooperating. He's not here for any of the searches. He's not calling us. It's like he doesn't even care. He's just sitting in his house. No, you accused me of murder. You can't. And a lawyer told me I couldn't. You can't talk to police because and there's a lot to that. I'm sure when they say don't talk to police, it's not just. There's a lot to that because that can get you in so much trouble, and it doesn't have anything to do with whether you're guilty or if you're innocent or what you're saying has anything to do with the actual case that they're investigating. They're literally just looking for you to say things that they can later on say, hey, he changed his story. That's all they're looking for. That's what they're
I
looking
agree.
for you to make inconsistencies. And then they use that. You wait until you see what these guys did. They would just bring anything. If I said I got up at 9 and then a little bit later I said, well, it might have been 9:30. They used it in court. Like they would testify to it. They'd be like, he's lying right there. And why would he want to lie about what time he got up? How does that help him? It doesn't. It didn't have anything to do with anything. You wait until you see what
I'm not surprised with any of this, right? So I want to do a quick intro for you, right? So we've offline. I've said we offline. We've spoken about Zachariah Anderson. So this is his brother, right, Solomon. So what you described, Zach went through the same thing. He was zeroed in on, and they didn't let go on that. So I'll hook you up with Sol, right? Because he's got a great story as well. I'd love for you to speak to him as well, because your experiences sounds exactly what his
it's
brother went through as well.
it's a
So.
trauma, and it's something that you can't really describe until you're a victim of it. But once you're a victim of it, you're like, I can't believe this is real, that they would really do this to someone, you know. But when it's and when once you're in their crosshairs and you it's something you can't describe. Your world turns, and they know it. They use it against you. They really do. They don't care whether they literally don't care if you're innocent or you're guilty. They don't. It doesn't matter. You're their man, and they're gonna
It's
do
the
what they're gonna
result.
do. So
Yeah, they can close it.
I feel sorry for this guy already. You know, I'm sure he's been through hell.
Yeah, we got. I'll tell you a lot more about it in a bit because I think you can bring a lot of experience to understand stuff here. About so Julio says, Mark, the verdict really brought tears to my eyes after watching the entire trial. He went through so much already before that, and I think that's what we're learning so far is how much you've been through. I mean, losing two sons, losing a wife. I mean, that's tough, man. I mean, that's not many people can get through that, and they've been accused of murdering your wife. Man, total respect to you. Do you know what I mean? Fucking hell.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know how he's
just
done it, mate. Honestly.
they knew my story. They learned my story right away, and they knew I was not at my best. Far from it, you know, and I was recovering from it, and they knew it, and they used it. I was like
Yeah.
a dead bird on the side of the road flapping around, and they were just like, "That's our guy. It's perfect. This guy's perfect for us."
Yeah.
So, but
What was your? I was just going to ask you, what was your mentality though? Because obviously, you had the beard, your depression and stuff. But when they were there to arrest you, were you just like, had you given up at that point, or had you just been like, what was your mindset at that point?
it was they arrested me 13 months after she went missing. They
Yeah,
found her 4 months after she went missing. So I had 13 months of this living in this world where I couldn't grieve Emily because of the pressure that police put on you. I had to take Emily and just put her away. And I did all the way until I got my verdict. I didn't deal with Emily at all, like mentally,
mm,
because you just have this, you're dealing with the pressure of police suspecting you of murder, which is a thing that's in its own thing.
mhm,
You can't combine the two. It's just you.
mhm,
So I as far as in dealing with my wife and even my son a year before that, once I was accused of murder, my life got consumed in that, which might have helped me because maybe I wouldn't have been able to get through it with them. I might have been worse off. But being focused in on um, trying to tell everybody that I was innocent, my family, my friends, the people that were around, the neighbors, just kind of like waiting this 15 months to get her death certificate so I could probate her will. You know what I mean? Be the executor of the will and probate her estate. And it didn't. It
yeah,
never happened. But I knew I had to, so I focused in on just waiting for my responsibilities as a husband when your wife dies. In a lot of ways, I think the police helped me get through it because I didn't deal with it. I dealt with the police, which was a lot
Yeah.
easier actually than dealing with,
Yeah, yeah,
hey,
yeah.
your son just died and your wife just died.
Yeah, yeah. That was intriguing because that's what I was going to say because that was one huge hit straight after another one. So, but in terms you mentioned your family and stuff and friends and stuff, what what was the support like for you? You know, I can't imagine like what was the overall like perception from family and friends? Were they supportive? Were they you're on your own, man? What was it like for you?
I don't know. I don't know what you have in your life. I have these friends that I've known all my life, and
Yeah,
they're just the greatest people in the world. The other people, the peripheral people in my life, yeah, they just didn't know. They didn't know. And if you look at the media, what the media did to me, it was as though I was guilty from day one, according to the media. These podcast people got a hold of me, and just they would say anything. So it was a lot. I lost a lot of friends. I lost a lot of family. And even though I got found not guilty, it ruined my life. A ton of relationships. But I still have this core group of friends and a core group of family members that they just knew I was innocent right from the get go because I'm just not a violent guy. I've never been a violent guy
yeah,
at all. I don't lose my
yeah,
temper. I mean, I lost my sons. Once you go through something like that, you just you learn how to, you can deal with everything. There's nothing that you can't deal with. So it was like my life prepared me for this thing with the police.
and
But
Irish has said, yeah,
their
sorry,
tactics
man, I
are
just
they're
awful.
it's a pressure that you can't describe it until you become a victim of it. I was as soon as Emily went missing, I did a lot of stuff on the internet to try to look for her. I was doing a lot of searching on the internet because as far as I knew, she was still alive. They looked for her. There wasn't any reason for them to think she was dead. So I stuck with that. I'm like, I'm not going to go on these searches. I'm not going in the woods and looking for her. She's alive. She just took off. She got in a car and left. So I was on the internet doing a lot of searching for her, and this woman reached out to me. Her husband went missing like years before, and I think that they ended up finding him. He kind of had a mental breakdown, but she is a missing persons advocate, and she introduced me to these other people whose spouses go missing. So I have three really close dear friends of mine, and we all had spouses that went missing, and you couldn't imagine the amount of support they gave me through the whole thing because I thought I was all alone with what was going on, like how I was being treated by police, how I was being treated by my community. And then I met one particular person whose wife committed suicide. They couldn't find her. They accused him of murder. They found her. They said, hey, this is a murder. You know what I mean? It happens all the time. So he literally the same thing they did to him, they did to me, except they didn't arrest him because they didn't have anything. They didn't have anything on me either. They should have never arrested me. But literally, they do this. Law enforcement does this thing, and it's not just me. And that was, and when you find other people that have been through the exact same thing, the two of the friends are women, and they do it to women too. Your husband goes missing, they don't know where he's dead, and you murdered him. That's how they look at it. It's a crime. That's police want crime, right? That's pretty.
It's
They don't show up to solve anything, and it was nice to hear that from when I got to first meet these three friends, and they had already been through it. Their spouses went missing, and they understood what police what their tactics are and what was about to happen to me, and they started advising me. And one of the first things they said was, police aren't interested. Law enforcement isn't interested in solving your case. They just want to close it. And then once you start to, and they would tell you these things, and it would help immensely. They supported me through my whole ordeal because we all go through the same thing.
man. you say this story, right? And I'll put this post up. I'll read it out to you now. Um, Again, this is about you. This stream's about you, right? But I can't. It'd be remiss of me not to say the coincidences of what you're speaking to me about right now is exactly what Zachariah was going through. And Kayla's got here. Can she find Rosalia Gutierrez? That would be great. So Zach was found guilty of murdering Rosalia Gutierrez, this guy. They've never found any body. They've never found him.
Nobody.
They don't know where they don't know where he is. Nothing. There's no evidence against him. Nothing. He was arrested
He could still be
straight
alive.
away.
He might pop
His
up one
his
day.
his father, this Rosario guy, his father went missing years ago, still alive, and he is done the same potentially. No body. So when you said that just now, I'm sorry, but I had to bring Zach back into it because
No problem.
he's going. That's what he went through. Exactly the same thing as what you. So it's interesting hearing that from you that they just zoned straight into you. They did the same thing with Zach. And as you said, they don't care about innocent or whatever. They want a result. They want to pass it off to prosecutors.
Police, they're not original thinkers. They don't think out of the box. They get trained. They go into and it's across the pond. Here, they all do the same thing. It's like they literally learn the same thing. It's out of the same book that everybody uses. They all use it, and they're not doing things on the fly. They are taught. They get trained to do what they do. They get trained to get tunnel vision. Right, that's the first thing they learn. Don't worry about it. If it doesn't have anything to do with your target, it doesn't matter. Pretend like it doesn't exist. It's a distraction. Yeah, tunnel vision is just. I probably would have a lot of similar stories with this guy. I mean, I hope
Oh,
he's got some
you
sort of support system out there.
I'll tell you what, he's got. I'll send you a link later. He's got a website and stuff, and his family and most of this chat, right? I can tell you that what you talk about support system, that's his support system because these guys are doing so much to promote him, promote his story and everything like that. So his family and his friends, not friends even, just these people from the internet that watched the trial, saw the injustice, they've all come together and literally
Great,
are doing everything they
awesome,
can to help him, to raise money for his appeal, to
right?
like get in touch with him and everything like that. And I want to touch upon that in a bit when about your experiences in jail. But uh, your experience there is nice. I didn't know that you had a little bit of a support network and stuff like that. That's great to hear that was. But then were you then at that time, did you stay or were you made to stay in Ohio or did you go somewhere else? Because I can imagine it was probably intense on you in Ohio during this period of 15 months.
What they did is they didn't release a death certificate until after I got arrested. That was part of I needed to probate her will. I needed to deal with her estate. I was her husband. I was the sole beneficiary. I didn't even have her body. We didn't have a burial. We didn't have a funeral. I was waiting for them to figure out that she committed suicide, and then I can get a death certificate, and then I would have eventually left. But literally, it was me sitting there like a dummy for for 13 months, 14 months, whatever it was, waiting for them to give me a death certificate so I could get on with it. And one day I
Yeah,
went outside and they arrested me. And this whole 12, 13, 14 months, whatever it was, I'm confused right now.
I'm sorry.
They were like, he's not even calling us. They never called me. They never called my lawyer. They didn't care. They were building a case on me. That's what they were doing and it took them 15 months to do it. So I was literally drinking. I would drink a pint or a pint. I would, I would drink some vodka at night. I would go to the gym in the morning. I would cook some food, and I would drink myself to sleep at night.
Yeah,
I was just
yeah,
sitting, and they knew yeah, it was an immense amount of pressure. It was really weird. I didn't like going out. I just stayed home waiting.
yeah. I can imagine.
And
And
they
you
never
were,
called me to update me on anything. They never called and said, "Hey, your wife's at this morgue. This is where she is. This is where about." They never called. They didn't call me to tell me anything, update me ever on anything, because I was their man. They were building a case on me, And I tried to pretend like I didn't know it. I just pretended. I did my best to be like, you know what? They're going to do an autopsy. They're going to figure out that she hung herself. And they're whatever they're doing right now, they're cleaning up their mess. And so I was just waiting. I had friends that I would talk on the phone. My brother, I had a bunch of friends. I'd just talk to them on the phone, and they were all real super supportive. They were like, they're going to figure this out, Matt. Don't worry about it. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
Boy, was I wrong. The whole time that I'm waiting, they were building a case, which was 30,000 pages of discovery. Literally, they built a huge case on me.
Fucking hell. What? So, yeah, okay, that's tough. But I just go back to your phone call. They say that you weren't calling enough. But if you were starting to call them, they would have said, well, he's immersing himself so much. He's calling all the time. He's immersing himself into the investigation. That's why we know he's guilty. So you can't win in those situations.
When they brought me in, they made up their mind that I was guilty, or maybe they didn't. At that point, when I got interrogated, they said, will you take a lie detector test? I'm like, yeah, of course I'm going to take a lie detector test. I need you guys to get off me and get out there and look for my wife. So I took a lie detector test, and I was positive that I passed it. I was 100%, you know what I mean? And I go back in there, and they're like, you failed it. I'm like, what is this? That's impossible. I'm not lying to you. No, they're like, no, you failed it. You definitely failed it. And then that's when they accused me of murder. They're like, you fucking killed your wife and you threw her away like garbage. And you need to tell us now where she is. You need to confess. And I was just like, can I leave? And they're like, yeah, you can leave if you want. And I just left. And that was that.
Fucking
and after that, then you can't talk to police anymore, and you can't talk to anyone else about it either. No one. You can't talk to anybody. All you can do is talk to your lawyer. You can tell him stuff, but no one else. So as far as them saying he never called, they're still saying that. They're still saying, hey, he never called us. He just sat in his condo drinking, and not having a kid, never looking for her when she was missing. And then after she was found, he never called us for any updates. They know what they're doing. They're saying they're lying to you. That's a lie. They know I couldn't call them. They accused me of murder. You can't call. And then they'll turn around and they'll be like, he's not cooperating with us. Because he's guilty of this thing. They know what they're doing. And even after my trial and after I was acquitted, they're still saying the same things. They're still on. They'll go on TV. The lead detective has been on a TV show and still says the same thing. Like he wasn't cooperating. Well, why wasn't he cooperating? Well, you accused him of murder. He can't talk to you.
Yeah.
I don't think that's very difficult to understand. I mean, it's just they do that to everyone. They're not playing straight pool. They're not playing. They need stuff to bring into court so that they can get a conviction. They don't care if you're innocent or guilty. They don't care.
No, and they can lie.
It's a
they
racket.
got power to lie.
No, they lie. They'll go right on. When you go into the trial, you wait until you see, because you know how good my lawyer was, right? I mean, you know how good she is.
Yeah.
The lead detective, who's a moron, in my case, he's literally a moron. He gets on the stand, and my attorney just wipes him out. And he caught him several times lying, and it was so easy for her to do because she understood everything. Yeah, they lie because they know they can get away with it. I mean, he got on the stand and lied 3, 4, 5 times, right to everyone, and I can show you how. My attorney showed him what's happened to this guy. Nothing. He does these. They do it with impunity. There's nothing you can do to him. You can try to hire a lawyer and sue him. Good luck in that. Good luck with that. Who's got money for a lawyer?
Not like that. No. Okay. So we've got that. So you mentioned it briefly there. I saw a video of you actually, and I couldn't believe this. Right? It's actually the first time I didn't even know it was you.
Yeah,
right?
I remember seeing it
here. This video, right, was about you getting arrested, right? I believe it's you. I haven't looked, right? You got arrested in your car. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's right. Happy days. I got it.
I was pulling out of my condominium complex, and they literally It's in my book. I would like when the police are following you around, you can feel it. You know what I mean? It's heat. You can actually feel it. When they're not, you can tell that they're not there. But when they're there, it's like they want you to know that they're there. You can see them, and you can. So for like 2 weeks prior to my arrest, I I saw things that were like, this is not right. You know, I'm like, that's not
Yeah.
where the God. They're all over the place. It's crazy. It's just nuts. And so what they did on my arrest is they were following me to find my pattern. So they knew exactly when I was going to leave that day because I had gotten a job. And it was literally, they just timed it so that they could do this thing when they arrested me to make it look this like I was a really dangerous person. It's literally a show. It was a show. I came pulling
Oh,
out. I mean, I don't know how many cops were there, but if you knew me better, you probably know like that I'm not a violent person. I mean, when
no.
they had guns and they were pointing their guns at me, I was just like, what do you want me to do? And they're like, put your hand here. And so I'd put my hand here. You know, I just did what they told me, but it was definitely overkill. The day of my arrest, the whole thing was set up for aesthetics. It was just for PR, you know, like public relations. The perk walk, you
Yeah.
know what a perk walk is, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That is just, why do they even allow that? What is that for? Is that do they do that because they want to bring the truth to come out? No, they do it because they want to manipulate people. Hey, look what
Yeah.
we got here. Look at them. We got
Yeah.
them. You couldn't look any more guilty, right? Than a perk bark. It's like
Yeah.
you're handcuffed, you're all fucked up. It's stupid.
Yeah.
It's stupid. It's literally, it's just, it's just part of the game that they play. And where I'm from, the Westerville Police Department is a rinky-dink bullshit little place with a ton of money. They're way overfunded, and they don't have a lot of experience in murder, you know. So they weren't.
Yeah.
Their little show was awful. It was like watching a really shitty movie with real shitty actors. You know, you ever watch like a really bad movie? You know, they're trying to act.
Yeah.
They're like walking around. You can tell you're phony. You're not. This is even real. It was weird. It was really weird.
No, I can imagine. Well, I remember seeing that, and I didn't follow it, the case back then, but I do remember that. I was just thought I
I
remember
don't want
watching it.
to. I have a bunch of YouTube videos on YouTube. The
Yeah,
one that got the most views, it got like I think it's almost up to 600,000 views. Is my arrest video. People like
here
those.
we are.
It's like porno for the thin blue line crowd. Do you know what I mean? They the fucking the righties, you know, they love that shit. Oh, look at them, you know, good job, officers. Thanks for your service. It's like,
Oh,
thank you for what? Do you know how much money that cost? All that they were following me around for weeks prior to my timing when I would leave. They were everywhere. 2 weeks they spent
yeah,
all. Could you imagine all the overtime? And they would pull out and they'd get a phone call and they timed it perfect. All that money for something that isn't even necessary. They could have just called me and I would have just came down. And they knew that,
yeah.
but they made a big show out of it. Yeah, they and it's and it,
And
and the more and more you go and figure out, like when you read, if you read my book, you'll and it's cliche, but when you start to understand how law enforcement and district attorneys and judges and lawyers and the law, the criminal, the justice system, it's all about money. It really is. It's about
yeah,
money.
money and show. It's like they want to show for you. It's like, look what we've done. Look, we work hard.
Look
We
what we've
arrested
done.
this
Look what
bad
we've done for
guy.
the community. So we get to raise your
Yeah,
taxes and collect more. Look at all the good stuff. We get the dogs we get to buy. It's a show. It literally is a show. It's just,
yeah.
yeah, my arrest was, I mean,
Um,
it's laughable what it was, because I'm such a non-violent, like I wasn't a threat at all. And they made it out that,
yeah,
I mean,
no,
these dudes were like, they were shaking. They were shaking. They were pointing the real thing.
no, I can imagine. But I
But
remember it was overkill. I remember it was overkill. Um,
yeah,
what
they
was it?
don't care.
Oh, they asked if you got.
All the money that was spent on it. That's what they're after. That's what they want to do. They just want to legitimize what they do. The money they spend. They want to legitimize it to the community. Look what we're doing for you. We're protecting you. And it's an
Yeah,
unlimited amount of money in Westerville. I didn't grow up there because I'm not. There's a lot of money in Westerville. It's like the nicest suburb in Ohio. It's nice there. So the police force is way overfunded. There's no crime there. So you got all this money. So when they finally had something go on like that, they were like, "Woohoo! Look what we got here!" And they just started making phone calls, and it was like they were churning an account. That's what I say in my book.
Don't say too much about it because we're going to buy it. So everyone's going to buy it. As Lou says, she's got it. She's got the electric copy, Kindle one, and the hard books, the actual physical book is coming out in a couple of weeks, guys. So we'll promote that. There's a question here for you. Have you got a YouTube channel?
I'm making one right now. I'll tell you this. I'm not supposed to, I don't think, but one of the major networks here in America, they picked up my story. It's a true crime, whatever. I'm not supposed to tell you who they are, but they're one of the majors here in America is going to come out with they've already produced it. So I've already been interviewed and they've already come out with everything. They're just putting it together and it's going to come out. I've been waiting for that because that's going to be like free advertisement, right? I mean, they're going to mention my book, and so I've been kind of waiting for that. It's supposed to come out next month. So I am going to have a YouTube station. I've started a GoFundMe for myself to try to recoup some of because people keep saying they want to help me, which is great. Thank you so much. I mean, so I'm going to set up a GoFund to try to get some of the money back. The book's only $10. It's not like it's not like I'm, whatever. I'm not very business oriented. I'm just trying to recoup some of my money. But the YouTube station's coming out too. It'll probably be done by before the episode comes out on the major about my case. It's going to be before that, so it should be within the month. Because I wrote the book and no one knew about it. It's really hard to get the word out about anything. So, and next thing you know, I'm going to have millions of people watching the Dateline. Millions of people are going to be watching the show, right? So I've just been kind of waiting for that, and then I'm going to use that as kind of like some sort of promotional to get you guys to come. And I'd like to set up a thing on the YouTube station if there's any questions that anybody has about the trial, because a lot of people are out there spreading disinformation, and they just don't know the information they're getting is wrong, and they just don't know it because the media is telling them these things, or they're hearing it. It's like gossip, Any kind of questions anybody out there has the new Emily, friends, family, anyone that thinks I'm guilty, and there's some sort of question you have, get a hold of me. I'm not like hiding. My phone number's out there. People are going to be watching this. Call me, send me an email, whatever, and I'll answer. I'll tell you why you're wrong. Because wait until you see the trial. If you've been reading the comments, you probably heard people say, any evidence that I did this? There's literally none. Zero. So when I ask people, I'm like, why do you think I'm guilty? They don't know why.
Media.
They were talked into it.
Yeah. I got you. You back. I got a question.
So I'm here. Any kind of questions you got?
I got one here. I want to ask: when did Emily's family stop talking to you, Matt? Do you get that? Are you in delay?
You're talking about Emily's family.
Yeah. So there was a question: when did they stop talking to you? Was it? I'm not sure if they're talking to you or not.
Emily had a brother who's older that lived about an hour away from us. They didn't get along. They sort of did, but they didn't. I mean, he never came over. He never called me when she went missing. Her sister did. She had a sister that was just a little older than she was. She hung in there for about a month until the police talked her into whatever they talked her, and then she just stopped. Other than those two, other than her, Amy, the family never. The friends. It was so quick that the decision was made that I was guilty of this. It's amazing how fast police tactics work. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
They just her friends and her family, for the most part, abandoned me right away. Like the first week, It was over. But I did. She had a sister, and I talked to her for about a month on the phone every day. I talked to her until one day she's like, "You need to call the police," and I'm like, "Why? Well, I'm not going to call the police. You know what they think of me. Why would I call the police?" Because she just gave up. She gave up on me, and her Amy is her sister. That's her name. She actually got the condo that we owned. I don't know if you want to know about any of that. She
Oh,
she ended up suing me while I was in jail waiting trial and stole my home, and she took it.
oh, fucking hell.
And the court system in Ohio. I don't know how you. I had a really high priced civil attorney that was supposed to help me with all that. They're all on the same team. It's fucking frightening. They're literally on the same team. They
Mm,
all know each other. They all went to OSU, and I paid this guy like 40 grand to save my home. I think I already told you. Um, we just um, we just um, settled her estate. It just today. It was the
yeah.
last day of it. I got nothing. I was the sole
Mm,
beneficiary on her estate, which there was just a little bit of cash. But I got it was like $107,000 that went through probate. That's all that went through probate. Everything else got taken care of. I got $0, and I was the only beneficiary on it. You know where it all went? Attorneys.
fucking hell. Yeah, that's
They're
scary.
they're 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 just as bad as the cops. They're
Yeah,
fucking
no, I
horrible.
agree.
It's
I
literally I
I
hired an
agree.
attorney, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll help you." Yeah, and he was really super high price. His name was Garth Cox. He just fed me a line of shit. I might have well have just piled my 40 grand into a pile and lit it on fire because that's what he did for me. And it took me a while to figure him out. And eventually you go through enough of it, and you're just like, they're all in on this. They all know each other. There's no difference between, and I hate to even say this, there's no difference between a defense attorney and a prosecutor. They're on the same team,
Mm-hmm.
sorta, in a
Mm-hmm.
roundabout way. Your defense attorneys, they don't care about guilt or innocence. They have a job. That's it. They have a
Yeah,
job to do to
yeah.
get you
They get
off,
paid. Yeah,
and they
yeah.
get
They
paid.
get paid wherever happens. Yeah.
my
Jinx.
I don't want to get down too much on my attorneys, even though they know everything I'm talking about, and they know how corrupt the system is, and they know what police tactics are, and certain dudes are innocent, certain dudes aren't. I don't want to get down too much because they did so much for me. I mean, they literally saved my
Yeah,
life,
yeah,
right? My
yeah,
attorneys did. So, but they're in
yeah.
on it too. In this thing that the public doesn't know about. And unfortunately for your
Mm-hmm.
friend, he now knows, right? And people need to know this stuff before that this is how it really is. It's a game that they play, and that everybody's making money. The only person that didn't make money because of my wife's suicide was me. Everyone else made out.
Yeah,
Everyone, my attorneys, my investigators, you know what I mean? My
yeah.
in-laws who stole my home. Everybody made money except me. It's because they focused in. Law enforcement told everybody that I was guilty, and people believe police. They believe.
Believe.
I used
Yeah.
to. Police would tell me
Everyone does.
you hear something on TV, right? We're all kind of indoctrinated into it, or kind of brainwashed into it, and when this happens, and all of a sudden you realize that it's not just the cops; it's everybody. Everybody's lying. It's your attorney. You have to watch your attorney too,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
because
Well,
it's all kind of this,
get in together. I get it. Well, that's shit that you've ended up with nothing on that element. Um, but thanks for sharing all that because that's again details we don't know, and it's great for us to know. Like these guys in chat, nosy as fuck. They want to know everything. They want to know what pants you're wearing, what box. Do you know what I mean? They want to know the tea. So they love all this. So it's fine. Share as much as you want. I just want to take it back a little bit. I want to you mentioned our friend Zach. Um, so I've got a genuine question for you now, all right? Because you went through hell and everything, and he's gone through hell. It's really hard for me and everyone here to understand what he's going through. So he's now obviously in prison, he was in jail. Like, how did you cope? And how maybe could people help Zach being in prison? What helped you out in prison? What kept you motivated and stuff like that? If you don't mind sharing a bit of that experience with us.
Well, if you're innocent, you'll make it longer, I would imagine. I mean, if you're guilty, I don't know what your motivation is to do what you do. But if you're innocent, I guess maybe there's just always hope. I
Hmm.
The reason I didn't like kill myself or just lose complete hope when I was in jail was because I was innocent. So I mean, what do you do?
Hmm.
It's not really that hard. They they'll start coming at you with deals. You know what I mean? Like they would talk about the death penalty or you don't have enough money to go to trial or and I'd look at them and I'd be like, I'm never, ever, ever going to say I'm guilty of something I didn't do. So just don't even bother talking about it because it's not going to happen. I'd rather be dead.
Hmm.
You kind of reserve yourself to be if you're innocent. If he's innocent, your friend, he'll be all right. Just keep fighting. He's got an appeal coming, right? I mean, so
Hopefully,
I don't really
hopefully.
know how to explain it. It's yeah, I hope so too, man. When I was in jail, and I'm like, you know, when I get out of here, I should probably try to help people with this my story. I didn't go to prison. I couldn't imagine when I don't know if you watched me get found. My verdict was read. My reaction, I wasn't
Yeah,
prepared for it. I just was not.
yeah,
Um, all my energy was focused on you're going to go to prison, and it's going to be really really hard. So be prepared
yeah,
because it's coming. And it was a shock when I heard you just prepare yourself. You just prepare yourself. I'm sure your friend is prepared. I mean, I hope he's doing all right now.
yeah. I
I
think
don't
he's
know.
doing fine.
I've never been in prison, but as long
No,
as it's not, and
uh,
I had like him, I had people on the outside supporting me. So that I mean, I couldn't imagine not having a family or not having friends that were there to help me. I couldn't even imagine. So if he's got friends and he's got family helping him, I'm sure he's
yeah, he has, he has. But that's good to know because obviously none of us here have experienced what you've experienced, you know. And yeah, he is in prison now. He had to wait 3 years, nearly 3 years for his trial. Um, it was very corrupt. You spoke. I don't want to go too deep into this one because I want to keep this to later. But you spoke about how fair your trial was, you know, and that was a godsend to me to hear that compared to what he had. You had a fair judge. You said you had great attorney, whereas obviously in Kenosha, where Zach was, he did not have any of that. And I'd love to share that info with you so you can, you know, you can go into it and with an open mind. You know, you might come out and go, no, he's guilty. That's up to you. But I would love
right.
for you to share some of that info with you to see the difference and why we are here fighting,
Sure.
why we want to fight, you know, and why seeing and interviewing you is like a godsend because there is justice out there. It's disheartening to see some of these people go to jail when they're innocent or we believe they're innocent. So it's for you. Thank you for you know sharing all this. So it's important. Um, in terms of your time in jail, though, you said you're innocent, so you can keep going and stuff like that. What you said you lost weight and stuff like that. What was your routine in jail? What was it? What does jail look like? Because I don't have a clue.
I go into it in my
Thankfully,
book. I have a chapter on it, a couple chapters on it.
fine, fine,
It's
that's fine. Don't.
I would see no. I'll tell you. I'm more than it was crazy. I I was hallucinating. I was there's you're in this place where you're being monitored all the time, and the only thing that you know about the outside world is you got this phone. It's being monitored and you can't say anything to anybody on the phone or use it against you. You know what I mean? So here you are,
Yeah,
you're in
yeah,
this, you're waiting for trial, and it's just the food is shit. The people you're hanging out with, or just that type of everybody's screwing everybody over. Everybody's trying to snitch everybody else out so they can get a lighter sentence. So there's no trusting or anything like that, and there's nothing you can really do in prison to help you. It's your lawyers are doing it, and it's I would have bouts of like paranoia and I would hear things. I would hear people screaming like in the vents at night and it just wouldn't go away. Did you ever have deja vu before? I would get a bout of deja vu and it wouldn't go away. And I don't know if that means anything to you, but it's like you're fighting for your sanity. It's more than physically. It's your mentally. It's just so much pressure, and you're looking at the death penalty, maybe, or at least life in prison, and it's a pressure that I can't explain. Being locked up is not good for you mentally. I got really, really lucky. Because you lose
Oh,
it. I was losing it for sure.
oh, as you said, there's more stuff on that in your book anyway, so we'll read a bit of that. I didn't know it was in your book, so I don't want to spoil your book. I want people to buy it, so we won't go too in depth with that on that. But I want to go on to another.
Losing your lose. Yeah, go on. Losing your mind
No, 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 you go on.
is a very difficult thing to explain to people. It's just you, and I
Yeah,
look at it now and I laugh because it's crazy. It's what are you doing? Because I'm so different now. I'm free. I have never been more free in my life than I am now. It's just you really don't know what you got until you're locked up. And
well,
yeah,
that,
they know what they're doing. They make jails a certain way so that they're looking for a confession, right? Mostly that's what they want you to confess, and even if you're innocent, they want you to confess. And I can see that now. How could an innocent person ever confess to something? Because you want whatever's going on at that moment just to go away because you're losing it.
Mhm,
It's
mhm,
insane.
yeah. Well, that leads me on to something quite good because I've got two questions here from the chat. Um, this is from Lou saying, "What is Matt? What he's doing work-wise now? What are you doing work-wise now?"
Work? Did you say work?
Yeah, yeah,
Like, what am I gonna do for money? Uh,
yeah. So
yeah. I
there's two questions. Well, it's like what
Go
are
ahead.
you
What's
doing
the other
for
one?
work, and also Solomon's asking. So Solomon's Zach's brother, the guy we're talking about in prison. How is Matt putting his life together now he's liberated? So it's a bit of a combo. What are you doing with your life now? Since coming out of prison,
It's
jail, sorry.
it's it's. I was really super work oriented ever since I was a kid. I come from blue collar people. We work. I mean, we have to, right, to survive. I've never
Hmm.
been on any kind of government assistance. I've always been a worker. Um, when I got out, I said, well, you're a casino worker. You need to go back to the casino and get a job and start that. I don't think I could ever do that ever again. And the casino industry, you make some pretty good money, and that's what I do. I'm a casino worker. With the reputation that I have now, as soon as they find out what had happened to me, I couldn't work at a casino. It just wouldn't work. Half the people out there are assholes. They're just gonna they would make it intolerable. You couldn't work in an environment like that. But I said, it's okay. I'm broke. I don't I don't I don't have any prospects really. I got the book. I got some other things going on. I'm an artist. I got I'm gonna try to and it's okay. I'm all right with it. I'm free. I'm free. So whatever happens, happens. At least I'm not in prison. So I'll figure it out. I have friends. I have family. I have a car. It's the only thing I have that I own now. I own a car, so at least I have a car. So it'll work out. I don't even really worry about it. Whatever happens, happens.
Well, having gone through what you've gone through, I don't think you can worry about it because you are liberated, as you say. The small things like just having a car is huge. Do you know what I mean? Where we take that for granted, but you don't, and that's
Just
so
having a car.
wow.
I have a
Yeah,
car. A lot of people don't have cars, right? I mean, I have a car.
no.
I own it, so it's the only thing I own, but I have it, and it gets me around, and I'm okay.
And
Tonight I'm hanging
so
out with you
just
guys,
to
so
exactly. You're hanging out with a Welsh guy that you probably can't quite understand, and a chat full of
yeah,
women flirting. Do you know what I mean? What else would you want to do? Um, so
not bad, right? It could be worse. It could be
not,
way worse. Trust me.
not sure about that. You mentioned GoFundMe though. You haven't set it up yet, have you?
I have, but I'm just gonna. I don't want to go. I'm just gonna. Enough people have been like, "Hey, listen, Matt, if you ever need help, let me know." And I'm like, eventually, a friend of mine out here she reads my things too, and she's like, "You should set up a GoFund, because people want to help you. They feel bad for you, Matt. They understand that you got ripped off. I mean, your entire life savings, your inheritance, they stole your home, all your possessions are gone, everything's gone. You had to spend all your money for this defense. People want to help you, and so I finally said, you know what, okay. So I created a GoFundMe, and I'm going to attach it to my my YouTube page when I make it, and I'm just waiting for the major to come out with my episode, because there'd be millions of people that are going to watch it. So I'm hoping that it'll help.
Good. Good. Well, and
But
once you've got
GoFundMe's
the link, we'll share
it's
it.
like, yeah, sure, yeah, for sure. I'll stay in touch for sure. I'm
Yeah.
just Google my name, Matheau, Moore, Moore, and I'll always have like links around. I have it. I have a. You'll find it. It won't be hard to find.
Fine. I'll find it.
And let me
Anyway,
thank you in advance. Anybody that's going to help me. I mean, thank you so much for your help.
these guys are generous. They're generous. They will. I know time's thing. I want to ask you a very popular question here, right? Because everyone's a big fan, it seems. I don't know much about this person, but um, uh, we talk about Diane, your attorney. So,
Menashe.
tell us, yeah, tell us about how
Um,
did you get hold of her and stuff like that.
it was like God came down. I believe in God now too, because I don't know how I could afford anybody like her, but she just appeared one day, and my
Yeah,
lawyer Court Gatterdam, who's a great attorney too, but he's like, man, you're gonna want this lady. She's the best. And I'm like, well, and okay, I guess, whatever, sure. She wants to help me, and she came in. She doesn't have a really good bedside manner. I don't know if you understand what that means, but she's a bit focused.
no, I
You know what
do.
I mean? But
Yeah.
she's I've never seen anything like it. I was sitting in trial, and what they do is they give you their evidence and discovery, right? The prosecution gave us, and it was 30,000 pages of it. What part of the 30,000 pages are they going to use? I don't think she really knew. So she's kind of
Yeah.
like, okay, this is well. I think there's a little bit of cooperation when they decide what gets allowed to come in as evidence, but we don't really know why. Why are they allowing this on evidence? And they were allowing all these things that didn't mean anything. Literally, it was fodder, it was filler. There wasn't. So she had to figure out, and I saw her a couple of times. She would be like, they would be up there and they would testify, and they would make a point, and she would figure. I can't explain. Because I knew what was going on at certain points, because I just knew what was up. It was one thing about the if you don't know, there was a accusation made that I was staging the scene, and part of the evidence of that was that I had moved a cooler in the garage, and they said I took down a cord, an extension cord, and I brought attention to it. I told the police about it. After they asked me, they said, if you see anything out of place, we need you to let us. And like an hour later, I brought attention to the cord to them, and they said I was doing that because I was manipulating the scene to make it appear that Emily was looking for something to hang herself with. And I don't know if you can understand that. They said I took a cord, and put it somewhere. And I was like, hey, listen, this cord doesn't belong here. And I was doing that because I was trying to manipulate the narrative. I was trying to get them to go towards suicide, because I was accused of setting up a suicide, right? It's kind of a weird, I don't know if that was explained very well, because it's kind of a difficult thing to get your head. I saw Diane Menashe figure it out on the fly in court. I couldn't believe it. She figured it out. She figured out not only that, like these other angles to it too. Like, she's like, so you moved the cord. So what? Did they ask you if you could? Did they tell you not to move anything? You were in your own house. She literally did that a few times where I didn't even know what they were talking about. Why are they talking about this cord? I don't understand it. She knew it. She figured it out right there on the fly. I don't know if that's how they train lawyers or if she's just like a special lawyer, but she literally figured things out right there on the fly that I couldn't believe. I was just like, I can't believe she knew my case so well. You know, like that's what you want. You want a lawyer that like really knows your case, right? All the ins and outs. She knew all of it. She memorized the entire thing. Every my of course I have my family and my friends all watched my trial like intently. They know all the details of the trial, and you guys will too if you watch it because it's really interesting what they did. How I watch this woman and what she does, and how she just everything that they brought up, she addressed. She because literally they didn't even address what they would bring up there. She did. She was so good that she didn't call any witnesses up for me. She just used their witnesses, their people, to testify for me. That's how good she was. She was like,
Yeah.
I don't know if that means anything. I don't know if I'm explaining that right or not, but she
No,
literally
it means yeah.
such a good attorney that she would use their witnesses to testify for me.
That's what you want.
I don't know
That
if
that
there's
makes
other
complete
lawyers like
sense.
her around or not. I don't know if she's the only one I've
No,
ever met, but
no. And chat saying the same thing.
she
She's the
literally
best I've
went
ever
into
seen.
30,000 pages of it when you, yeah, I'm sure some of your people have watched, and you guys are trial junkies, so I'm sure you know about this type of thing. I'm sure there's those shitty lawyers that don't know anything about your case, and they just show up and they fuck you, right? Well, she was just the
Yeah.
opposite. She literally learned everything that she needed to know. So, and and it wasn't even really fair. Now that I look at it, I go back and I research for my book and I watch it, and I'm just like, this wasn't even fair. Go back and watch her cross Grubbs. Stephen Grubbs is the lead detective. Um, let me show. I'll give you another one. This is really neat. You'll see. You'll recognize it when it hits. Grubbs is up there testifying, and he testified that Emily and I had a troubled marriage, and the reason he came to that conclusion, one of the reasons, was that we used to use the word love when we would text each other all the time. It was like our pet thing. I love you. Can't wait to see my love. Blah blah blah. We use it all the time, like for the entire from when she got her new phone, which was in October of 19, up until she here in May of 20. I think that's right. Yeah, 20. I think yeah, 20. And so we're using the word love between our personal messages up until 2 months prior to her going missing, and all of a sudden we stop using the word love. He even counted the amount of times we use love between us, and then they would be like, "All right, how many times did they use the word love between the messages between them between November and April?" And well, 220 times. And how many times did they use the word love between April and when she went missing in May? You know what I mean? And he said zero. You know what I mean? And because of COVID, started working from home in April. There wasn't any text messages between us. The text messages, phone's going dead.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you broke down, but I can hear you now. I, I can't hear you, Matt.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes. There you are. I could hear you, Matt. We'll just wait for that. Here. Um, internet problems. America, internet problems. I saw something from you, Kayla. The flirting thing, Kayla, was a joke. Was a joke from earlier on. You just got off, and you come back on. It wasn't. You weren't here for the chat earlier on. We were just joking about. I told him that people flirt because T Swept was starting to flirt, saying that she was going to flirt with him. So it wasn't anything um, about anyone particular flirting or anything. He is on Twitter. We'll post it out later on. He's I think he liked or shared some of my tweets. He's not very active on Twitter, but he is on Twitter. We'll get his ats in a bit. Oh, here he is. Hang on. He's back. Yeah, he's
That's a
back.
bummer because that was a
Way.
really good story.
Oh, we heard a little bit. We heard a little bit. We heard about the love and about COVID, and then he
I'm
cut off.
sorry. I don't. It was a really good story too. I was getting really excited because the punchline was coming. I feel. You want me to start over?
Uh, no. So this is what we heard, right? That you and Emily would say love to each other, and the guy, whatever his name is, counted how many times you said love together. Then there was 2 months during COVID where obviously you didn't say love together because it's COVID. You're home together, and that's where you cut off. Now he's completely cut off. Matt, if you can hear me, we can't hear you. We cannot hear you, Matt. He'll come back on. He'll reconnect. He'll pop off and come back on. I'm not going to keep him for much longer. In fairness to him, he's given us a lot more time than he was supposed to. I had a chat with him for about half an hour beforehand as well. Um, just for those that know, he's agreed to look at some of the Zachariah stuff. Um, he he's got some experiences that Zach's been through, and he said I'll send him the website and stuff like that. And so I'll speak to you offline. He's more than happy to answer questions about that or support it and stuff like that. So I'll just recommend him to go through the website himself. Um, but yeah, he's very keen. We're going to show his trial every Wednesday from now on until we finish it, and he will no doubt be in chat for it because he likes to do that. And then at the end, or even maybe get him in the middle, and at the end, he's going to come back on and answer questions. As you heard, he's got a big network, which he did docs himself, coming out next month. Oh, and here he is. Ah, here he is with the sunglasses. No
There,
sunglasses. I
there
can
you
hear you
are.
now.
I'm sorry, man. I don't know what this is. I don't know what's going on. I have no idea. Are you there? You're gone again, aren't you?
Oh, there he is. Sunglasses back on. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. I'm gonna stand as still
Uh,
as I can.
uh,
I'm sorry. I'm ruining your show, bro.
no, you're not. Hey, you're making my show, mate. So it's good. It's good. They're all here for you, not for me.
You're still a little
I
spotty.
just,
You're still...
well, say something. Say something.
You're still a little spotty. How am I coming in? Am I right?
It's spotty, spotty. As long as we can hear you, can you hear me then? Don't worry, don't worry. I heard you say shit.
Hey, what's up? You can hear me now, how can't you?
Are we back?
I can hear you,
Are we back?
but you keep going out.
Oh shit. Um, right. You're probably gone now, aren't you? Are you there, Matt? He's gone. I mean, I'm not going to keep him. Fair play. He's given us, he's given me 2 hours of his time already. He's been on here for an hour and a half. So you know, in all fairness, he'll be back on. He'll be back on. He'll try and come back on in a second. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but it's not my side, which is good for a change anyway. Do you know what I mean? Lou, I'll message you, Lou. I'll message you. He said his contact is all out there, but I'll message you. Anyway, Lou. Um, I'm not going to ask you too many more questions, guys. Anyway, I wanted to hear about Diane. Um, oops, let's have a look here. He's back on. Is he here? Matt.
Hey, Can you hear
Can you
me?
hear us now?
I
Yes.
can, but
Can you hear
yeah,
us?
you're back. I'm sorry, dude.
Good, you're back. Hey, don't worry. It's good. I was saying I'm not going to keep you much longer because you've given us a hell of a lot of time. But I want to hear this story. Tell us about this story about the detective, or whatever he is called.
Come on. Hello.
Yeah, can you hear us now? Can you hear us better?
I can hear you, but you keep going
Matt?
out. I'm sorry, man. Yeah.
No, no, so it's fine. Hey, we can hear you. Can you hear me
All
now?
right. I can hear you.
Tell us a
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
Tell us a story
Well, that last
about the
story was
detective.
really good. It's a big part. Yeah, the detective. Did you hear the part where I told you he counted the amount of times we use the word love between
Yes.
Emily and I in our text, and then at some
Yes.
point, like in April.
Matt, you gone. You gone. You gone. Matt, you gone. I love it. These are the most authentic streams. Do you know what I mean? When it all goes fucking tits up, like, you know. You Americans with your bloody crappy internet. Look at me. I'm in Wales. I'm in countryside. Great internet. Perfect. Matt's still talking to himself. Matt's still talking to himself. He doesn't know that we can't hear him right now. I know. It's all good. He's going to come back on anyway. He's going to come back on. Don't worry. So I'll have to put you in touch with him, Sol. Uh, no, he's in Vegas. He's in Vegas right now. He's working out in Vegas. And see, Sweat, you get me into trouble with Kayla. Sort it out. Sort it out, see, Sweat. Uh, Jonathan, love having you here. I know we'll end the story. We'll make it up now if we have to. So over COVID, there was no loves at all. I'll stay up for a little bit. Washington, Nevada. I know, must be. I was saying, Caleb put me in trouble about flirting. It's your fault, doll. I'm joking. Another joke. I know. But remember that his book, the hard copy of his book, will be out in 2 weeks. I'm gonna wait for that. I'm not gonna. I'll probably do a story time on it. I'm not gonna do the Kindle stuff. Um, but if you can't support him, as he says, you just need to type in Matthew Moore, and he's out there. I think his numbers out there, everything's out there. Um, he genuinely is very amenable, very, very, very kind. Um, he reached out to me for this interview, which is kind of him. He will also be, uh, I say, he will be back on, and I'm hoping, fingers crossed, he does some stuff on Zach's, especially if he's going to have that big network coming out, and he's going to have his own touch channel. Um, it'd be great. Maybe hopefully, Sol, you might be able to go on with something. But he's a cool dude. He's a really cool dude. I've enjoyed chatting and interacting with him. Nothing's off the table. Honest guy, and he just wants to spread the word. And I'm grateful that he's doing this because, like I say, he's got that network coming out. So, um, and then his chance. So yeah, please buy his book, or GoFundMe is out there. His contact details must be out there. I don't know. He contacted me, guys, so I have no idea what his contact details, as in what is out there. I'm from Wales. I don't have his phone number or anything like that. But yeah, he's very amenable. Let me just check if he's not messaged me. Nothing there. I'll just hang on for a little bit, guys. I'm not gonna rush in case he does pop in. Well, he's still online, so yeah. Unfortunately, it was Sol couldn't make it for this one, Erin, but he knows he's got an invite. But also, my thing here today was to connect Sol and him, so that's been done sort of. So, and that he knows a little bit about Zach's case. Um, let's hope that he did finish. Uh, is Matt going to be joining you streams when he covers round? No, I don't want like it's a big ask of him. He said he'd pop into chat and stuff like that. He does watch it back. He watched my stream, and I think he thought it was good. So um, I wouldn't put that pressure on him. If he can join, he'll join. I'll say, but I'm not going to put that expectations on him. But there's no doubt that I can get him on. So, Lou, to answer your question, he'll be on more than just one more time. We'll so once we go through the trial, and there's something big that happens, we'll get him on. Um, I don't know what people are talking about Misty. I have no idea. Misty's not impressed. What will impress Misty? Maybe a working bathroom. That would be. I'm getting a new bathroom now as well. I'm not doing it myself though, so I'll fuck that. Ah, fine, fine, fine. Josie tell me fine. Yeah, I'm getting a new toilet, new basin, and everything. Um, fine. He's not coming back on, but I'm messaging him back now. Um, dude, you were awesome. Awesome. Everyone loved you.